What up, everybody? It's Lonnie with Charts and Labs here again with some more crypto information we're putting out. A lot of these are going to be old and well known, so I'm not going to get too crazy. But before we get any kind of crazy, let's just take a second and remind everybody that this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my opinions and my experiences so that you can make comfortable and wise decisions with your money at your discrepancy. So I just did a Bitcoin one, so might as well do the Ethereum one. Where Bitcoin is the store of value, think gold. Ethereum is the lifeline of these DeFi networks. Think oil and gas, kind of as a comparison. Ethereum is the um, is what they call a proof of stake instead of a proof of work. So instead of being mined, it just exists, and it's using smart contracts, which are automated, so it's decentralized, so nobody has governing control of having to manually operate flows and such. And then it allows NFTs and transaction fees and such to go across it, um, and that's how it determines its value. So if we jump into this outside of what it is and how it operates. If you're doing most of the layer two kind of stuff originated on the Ethereum platform, and that's what it was based for. And that's how its value is determined. But there are plenty of people who are also vesting in it and using it for staking value and for the transactions. Um, so whereas as gold I'm sorry about as Bitcoin is like gold, where it's purely valued off of its scarcity and the amount of people that are getting into it. There's actually a lot of utility with Ethereum. So if you're looking into something that you want to make sure that it has a true value to it, and you're more like somebody who would be investing in oil than somebody who would want to invest in gold. And even though gold has plenty of utility still, it's not as viable because of its cost right now. But the utility side and being the lifeline, Ethereum is much more of what you're looking for. So if we drop this into the weekly, we can see that um, just like all early cryptos, they had a nice run. Bitcoin had a similar run up in the beginning, and then as the big institutions and all those big banks decided that they were very anti-crypto, it came back down. So you had a nice run up, big time flat move down, and then it went to the acceptance and then value. Had a big run up in the 2020 as money was just flowing into all equities, all cryptos. The money printer was flowing and things were running. Of course, afterwards, crypto had a pretty sharp drop, and Ethereum was not immune to that, even though it is the second highest um, crypto coin out there as far as market caps go, next to Bitcoin. And then it got into this acceptance, or building this more acceptance, run up again, and another drop. Their fees got really expensive, and it started shaking out a lot of the early people who were involved in it because of its value. Um, and utility, and we're saying that it was going to lose value, and things like Solana and some of the other ones were starting to come on board that had cheaper fees and were more valuable or more usable than what Ethereum is. So if we just kind of peek at this, though, if we do this, you can see kind of through this heart of the chart. These are all weekly candles, but the heart of the chart was where this established its value and gained a lot of traction. It did it again here, and it's doing it again here. And if we're of the mindset that history repeats itself, we got to think that there's going to be another run up like these. Oh my goodness. So if we jump into TradingViewer, we can use my algorithm that I'm messing with for momentum and stuff. This is a little bit on a tighter window. We're looking at the action in the last 3 months because this is where things got really shaken up in crypto. The beginning of October, the Fed started getting weird, and shake, rattle, and roll created the uncertainty in all kinds of markets, especially the higher risk ones like crypto and the tech sector and the stocks. And that's why we saw a huge run up in gold and silver. Um, but things are starting to bottom out, as you can see in the more recent, and we're trying to see where that value is as far as wanting to add, or if we think this is going to leg down again. These candles are all 4-hour candles on this chart. I had the coin market cap one pulled up because just like Bitcoin, it's always nice to see where the volume is on these. And being that Ethereum is much more in that DeFi space, you're going to see a lot more of these decentralized exchanges that have more action on it. Sorry, my nose is running. Been outside. It's raining like crazy here in Nevada today. So when we go to all these volume, Bits Pay, CoinUp. CoinUp was a big one for Bitcoin as well. New Coin Store, BTD, Binance. Binance is a very big exchange for all the cryptos. But these are weekly candles, so let's jump into something a little bit tighter. So we have 4-hour, and we can see that this yellow line is our volume weighted moving average. So it's using a combination of the 4-hour candles in a trailing manner based on which ones have higher volume, like this having a higher precedent. We're also seeing these green dots and red dots as reversals of momentum based on this line and direction. The clouds that are behind it that we're following or seeing is when you have a green cloud, it's building momentum and it's getting bigger. Then it goes gray when it's kind of an in between, an indecisive momentum pitch, and then red is bearish momentum. As you can see, oops, sorry, I'm bumping everything, trying to turn the movie down and everything. Sorry. We got really strong momentum, and then we came down under, but it went down so sharply that it didn't even actually show a pivot point like this. And we didn't even switch from red to green because this was kind of a really sharp twist that should have probably gave us one in this range, but we are seeing one here, which is counter to this bearish momentum. And then we also see to the upside that volume weighted average. So that means that there is a lot of people who have bought on the higher side of where the current price is. That typically acts as a magnet that this has to come back and retest. You can see as this gets farther away from the volume weight, it comes back to it sharply, and then it goes up and then it comes back to it sharply. So we can also expect coming far below it that there's going to be a sharp magnet that'll draw this to the center. So if we come over here on Pinex, because I'm using Pinex as my main one, and because I have my watch list over here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, TXC, Link, Avalanche, Litecoin, HBAR, Heredera, and XLM. These are my top ones that I watch. Kind of my top 10 list. I typically try to stay around the top 20, with the exception that I'm including TXC because I got into this project pretty early and I've been happy with it. So I'm following that guy. But let's jump into a little bit tighter windows here, and we can see that Ethereum just had a nice little stretch, nice little run. This started this morning and has ran all the way to this afternoon. And we're going to see kind of at this point here, we're going to have to move up above this previous high of 29.5808 in that range. It needs to climb above that, or we're probably going to see a retest of this down low somewhere before it finds some legs. Probably this one. And the reason I picked this one is because this is one of the bigger lower wicks down, and I always follow the wicks for points of interest. And if you line up the wicks, you'll find the true resistance and the true support building on these. Let's pick a better color so we can see that. Even better color so we can see that. So if you're looking at Ethereum in more of a short term, if there's a failed move above on this top wick, let me turn the auto off so I can slide this down a little bit right there. on this top wick. That was the attempted breakout, and then it said psych. So in this range that we're seeing Ethereum for 29.31, 29.61, if this is going to be the support, you can come over here and do one more. So we come back to this red one here, and then we come back to this red one here, and we'll make this one be purple. So how I look at this is I'm looking for a break above this, and if Ethereum's price breaks below this purple, then it's going to have to come back and retest this. So that's how I play to the downside. So if we're looking for a break above, we're going to see this continue to bounce off this till it clears this 29.61. If we lose this trajectory and we come down and break through this purple trend line, then we're going to come to this zone, and then that's where I would add. And if I had to sell anything above to rebuy down here to preserve some profits, that's how that play would go for me. And just to kind of come across, and let's see if we have a similar, we're going to break this down to the 45 minute, and we are bullish right now, so I am looking for that upside. It is at 29.61. I mean, obviously it's the same chart, just this one's using the I don't remember quite, who am I using? Bitstamp. I'm using Bitstamp's volume for this average, but it should be pretty comparable. So I could look real quick here, and I see this volume weighted average way back here was kind of trending right around the 29.48. I look at 29.50 as a point of interest because it's a zero. The psychological levels that it is, that would be a point of resistance. But we're also looking at this, and we're really close to breaking out. So we could be seeing Ethereum trying to break out right here, which would be, if you're an Ethereum bull, that is got to be exciting for you. A lot of things are pointing to that. And let's see if we could find, where are we going to call the resistance? I like my channels to be parallel, as parallel as they can get. They're not always perfectly parallel, but I like to see a parallel channel. Like this is a pretty close parallel channel that I'm trying to follow. So you could even, and then we could even make another one where we can follow the tops of these body candles to this. Didn't like that as much as I liked. Is what it is. It's kind of there. That would be the break above this. It could follow this trajectory because this is kind of a rounding attempt, but it has to not fail here. It's getting very close to wanting to fail. Come back to this green and to this green. Make it be kind of that color. So this 45-minute candle is working. We're looking to see a test here to continue this upward move. That would be another bullish indicator for some continued bullish momentum. If this fails here, I would follow this volume weighted average, and it's probably going to be somewhere along here. So if you're looking to buy Ethereum and you're a little hesitant, you can wait for this before a breakout, or you can wait for a test here, or you're looking here and you see the upside. This is where you look at what's the crypto is very big in their communities. So if you follow the Ethereum communities or the message boards, and you kind of see a lot of hype building up, it creates enough FOMO, and then you can typically spark a rally. There are some pretty good inflows from ETFs for the institutions, even in the Ethereum network. So that's a good positive that you're not going to see because they're closed today, but would come on. Tomorrow, but would happen on Friday. You could see some ETF inflow, which would create a little bit of a rally. So kind of at an inflection point. If you're the one that's on the 29.50 edge of you think you're going to anticipate the move up and the breakout here, then it's a good buy. If you're a little hesitant and you don't see enough hype and enough excitement in it, you might want to wait for a retest to come back down and then add a little bit more to your position. Or another safe way to do it is buy a little bit here and you can always add on the breakout or you can add on the retest. This is that good kind of midline and point of inflection to maybe take a partial position. But just to kind of touch on what is Ethereum about, we already kind of talked about it a little bit. Decentralized open source blockchain, features its own cryptocurrency, Ether platform, numerous cryptocurrencies, Ethereum. In 2013 is when they came out. That was when their white paper was established. They were crowdfunded initially, and then once they kind of launched and took off and started getting some funds, he quickly established the Ethereum Foundation and went LLC and everything and got very formal, which allowed him to do very well. So I mean, I really like the Ethereum platform and the way that the guys ran it. Taking Ethereum's price now, this puts the ROI at an annualized rate of 270%, essentially almost quadrupling your investment every year since 2014. So for a 10-year investment, pretty impressive to do such a thing. They raised 18.3 million in Bitcoin, and Ethereum's price in their initial coin offering was 0.311. Pretty crazy to think that you could have got in on an initial crowd fundraising, grabbing 0.3 or Ethereum for 0.311 and seeing it today for $2,953. Crowd sale, the project team managed to raise 18.3 million in Bitcoin is how they crowdfunded. Pretty impressive. And then the project has gained a lot of utility, and that's why it's got a lot of backing. And you can see in the news over here that BlackRock moved $200+ million in crypto. What's going on with BlackRock? Follow the money. Those guys are always in the know and always seem to control. So we see volume, and over here same kind of thing. So we looked at Bitcoins, and it was 1.5% of their 24-hour volume was, or of their 24-hour volume was 1.5% of their market cap. Ethereum is 3.75, so a little bit heavier on the volume, unless no, 1.3. It actually went down. So we look at Ethereum, and they have a higher volume than their ratio to their market cap. So that is a pretty bullish indicator right there that there's some positive momentum. And we looked at their weekly. Their MACD is crossing, turning bullish. We look at their daily. Pretty flat, but in the bullish, despite a couple sales against it, but maybe you can see a break. This looks like a good area. That would be probably a test area. If we do a horizontal line, we can see test on this one. This flat, test right there, test. So if you zoom out on this 3076 line, I bet there is a lot of action throughout the life here. Being there, 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 being there. So it could be a short-term price. Is that about, what are we going to do? Another percent, 5%, something like that. Decent move up. To move up, $100. That would be a little bit more. 10% move, 5% move. So there's some positive upside to Ethereum here coming up. If you were on the bullish side, I think I would be bullish bias right now. If I'm looking at, it would do that and block me. I hate when it does that. Why do you put those there? Boom. I missed it. Close enough. We have bullish price action coming here, looking for it to move and test that 30-50, we'll call it 30-30, in that range for a breakout. So a little introduction to Ethereum, proof of stake, transaction fees, staking, utilization, more of a utility-based value, think oil, whereas Bitcoin is your gold. So Tom Lee's a big Ethereum fan. Looks like he's adding. So there's some more bullish move. Sounds like there is some positive action going on. A little bit lower on the volume than what it was yesterday, but that's probably because he already did that. So there's your introduction. Quick little chart. Look at the far out. Look at the near term of what we had for Ethereum, and what we got going on here. Let's do this again just to go both ways, because I don't know why it does that. It'd be nice if it just went across on both sides so we can see it across forever. Let's see, is that 32 is the next zone that it's going to want to try to draw to. But for you Ethereum fans and lovers, or if you're just interested in looking at some things, if you're looking at getting into crypto and you've never done one before, again, Bitcoin's your gold, Ethereum's your oil and gasoline. So if you like utilities and making sure that whatever you're investing in has got a value and a use, Ethereum is probably the one for you. And we're gonna move on and check out a couple more of those. I'm gonna try to make a video on everyone in my list. I don't know if I'll do all of them today. I just wanted to at least get these two kind of as a starting talking point. I know XRP is going to be a very popular one. They have quite the army on social media. Solana's got a lot of popularity. Some of these other ones are not going to be as fan base oriented, but they have plenty of following and they definitely have some value. Again, they're all in the top 20 except for TXE being the new kid on the block. I'm hoping that this one gives me a good yield. I've made more than my investment back, and it's looking like it's wanting to do well for me. I have a couple of the trading bots going on it. My bigger ones have been going for a while. This one's only been going on for like an hour or 2 hours or so. That one's been working, and we'll see if we can make some money with this guy. I'll get to it. I've done plenty of videos on TXE. I might do another full introductory one to give kind of a breakdown to everybody, especially as some things have changed. Not as far as like the project in itself, but some of the benefits and some of the ideas. It's the new kid on the block, but we're gonna jump into probably Solana next, and I'll probably do that one tomorrow. I think I'm gonna be done for videos today, but hope you enjoyed. We're learning lots, building wealth, getting rich. 2026 will be a good year for everybody, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.